I think sometimes we do a really good job at inspiring and social impact, but then we lack clarity.
It's true. Every year, billions of social awareness campaigns get published online.
So I feel really good about what I just watched, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that. So being really clear about the call to action, how am I supposed to walk away and take action based on what I just saw?
I'd listen to Laura Kline. After all, she's the Chief Communications Officer and Senior Partner at Flagship Pioneering, a biotech company that invented some of the world's most significant scientific breakthroughs, including Moderna, one of the primary developers of the COVID-19 vaccine.
We have a large team of scientists, of company builders, and we work with really crazy ideas from the beginning and then take it through to companies that we launch and then steward into the world and beyond. So it's a really exciting place with really science fiction that we're turning into reality every day. So it's just an incredible place to work and to be a part of.
But how did an English major who also sings in a 175-person choir end up in a company like Flagship Pioneering?
I've learned to trust my gut. I belong at the table. Even if you're someone just starting out and you have a strong opinion or you have an opinion, you belong at the table. You're at the table. Use your voice.
I'm Camila Rence, and this is Impact After Hours, a show about pursuing a life of impact on and off the clock. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You were at the Skoll World Forum this year, which, for those of you who don't know, it's one of the, I would say, largest and most significant conferences or gatherings of philanthropists and change makers that's held once a year in the UK. And on LinkedIn, you shared a photo where you're standing with Trevor Noah. What was he like? Let's start there.
He was great. What an incredible interviewer. He interviewed my boss, Nubar Fayan, the CEO and founder of Flagship Pioneering, but also the co-founder of the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative. And they talked primarily about AI, but he was just really engaged. He's personally engaged in philanthropy, and there's just so many connection points there. So it was a great conversation.
I also saw one photo of you and Pat Mitchell, who I have to give a shout out to Pat because she is an Impact After Hours alum. We love her on the show. She's a legend in both, environmental impact and the media industry because she co-founded Project Dandelion and TED Women.
I mean, Pat is just the greatest. And
yes.
I've had the great privilege of knowing Pat and her partner Rhonda in that project. And actually, when I was at the Rockefeller Foundation, was at the original convening that sort of conceived of that idea, which is really, I would say, the trajectory has moved towards this intersection of gender and climate, and even more than that and beyond. And was lucky enough to be in the room that was discussing that. And I love bumping into those people again. It's a great way to connect. Not just network, but really focus in on the things that matter and the points of intersection that matter to you and to your peers and the new people that you're meeting in those settings.
For anyone who is just starting out in social impact in this field that we're in, what's a pro advice you can give in making the most out of going to an event like that?
We actually talked about this at this dinner that Pat hosted. What's the best way to get the most out of this event? And her advice was not making it transactional, just being open to everything, being open to the experience, not going in with expectations, probably some goals, but just really absorbing as much as you can, meeting as many people as you can, because usually in those unexpected moments, that's where you really have breakthroughs or connections or just like moments of inspiration.
Exactly. And as we said in the intro, you are the Chief Communications Officer at Flagship Pioneering, which is a biotechnology company that invents and builds platform companies that change the world. What exactly does that mean? And I do want to point out, you don't often see the word invent in company description. So can you let us in on that?
Absolutely. So if you think about Flagship, we're a company whose product is companies, and we've created more than 100 companies, both in human health and in sustainability. And the most well-known of those companies is Moderna, of course. And we invent those companies from the start. So we were not outsourcing, we're not looking outside of Flagship, but we have a large team of scientists, of company builders, and we work with really crazy ideas from the beginning and then take it through to companies that we launch and then steward into the world and beyond. So it's a really exciting place with really science fiction that we're turning into reality every day. So it's just an incredible place to work and to be a part of.
Invent companies like Moderna. So let that sink in for people who may not be fully aware of what Flagship Pioneering does. And then you have this role, Chief Communications Officer. You're in charge of a lot of things. But before we get into all of that, I do want to get a little personal, Laura, if that's all right with you.
Let's do it.
You grew up with 2 teachers as parents. What was that like? Did that make you a good student or the opposite?
I was a good student, I would say. But not a perfect student by any stretch, but no, I liked school. We were reading at home from a young age and all the things that you should do to probably get a kid excited about education. I would say how that's been helpful in my career though is that they were people of service. I think being a teacher is a service, and that was really ingrained in me, and that they just had this really impactful career. Obviously, underappreciated, I would say, in many ways in our country, unfortunately, but they were truly impactful teachers. My dad was a 5th grade teacher. My mom was a high school AP economics and government teacher, both well loved and impactful, and had a great impact on my life and wanting to get into areas like social impact and really make an impact in my own career.
Is there any sort of lesson that they've shared with you that has stuck with you till this day?
I would say it's more of they were both really civically minded. So I remember, they actually met in the Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco in the late 60s, which is like the era of hippies. And they were, they would be out in protest marches and really fighting for equality. And they were really active in that way. And I remember growing up and spending lots of time campaigning door to door for local politicians. And they were part of neighborhood associations and super involved in the community. So that civic mindedness has really stuck with me and been an important part of my life as well.
And now I'm more curious because, at home you had parents who were teachers or are teachers, but you took up you're an English major.
Yes.
So my question then is, did you ever think it could lead to you working at a biotech company?
Definitely not. Definitely never crossed my mind. But, I would say as being an English major, I wasn't fully equipped with all the ways I could use that degree going forward. That's a shame. I hope that's improved. But back in the day, it was hard to imagine what you would do with that degree, especially like a literature degree. But there's so many opportunities, and storytelling in what we do, and social impact in biotech, in sustainability and everything is so deeply important. So anyone who is an English major or writer, there's just so many opportunities out there. And I hope people think of it not just as a soft skill, but as a really strategic skill that they have the power to use in so many ways.
And when you joined Flagship Pioneering, did you have to learn a bunch of scientific lingo?
I did. And I do every day, but it's really fun. It's really fun. I wasn't, I took science classes, obviously, like all of us did, but I did not study science in college. So I'm getting a full new education every single day, which is really exciting.
And I want to go back to what you said earlier about making science fiction into reality. For anyone who, loves sci-fi or science, just in general and broadly, how do you think your storytelling capabilities came into play or comes into play with your work?
I would say it's, even if it's, whether it's science or whether it's climate change, which is science, obviously, too, or humanitarian response, it's about simplifying. So good storytelling is simple. Science is really complex. Sometimes the systems we're working in social impact are super complex, but it's all about really providing clarity and simplicity. And I would say centering storytelling in human impact. Maybe it's planetary impact if we're working at Flagship on one of our ag tech and sustainability companies, or certainly human impact if you're thinking of a Moderna or companies like Harbinger Health, which works in really early stage, sort of even pre-stage cancer. It's about the patient that you're impacting, the person that you're impacting, and communicating and really centering the audience in that story so they can find themselves in the story. And so I think that principle pertains to any kind of storytelling you're doing in all lines of work.
And storytelling is a skill. So I also want to underscore that for our audience. You hone that skill too over time. And it's a wonderful part of anyone's toolkit, especially in this type of work. But what's been I would say a big mistake that you regret making in your earlier days in this work of communications and storytelling that our audience can learn from?
That's a great question. There's obviously so many mistakes you just continue to learn from.
Yeah.
I would say early on, I didn't have as much confidence in, I actually started in crisis communications, which is really interesting too, but much different. And sort of in moving into more social impact work, it's really more of a creative area.
Yes.
And I didn't trust my gut as much because I thought, I'm not the creative in the room. That's not, I shouldn't, I'm going to listen to others. Even when I thought something, perhaps someone's really senior, they've been doing it for a long time, they're the creative director, and I sort of knew that wasn't right. I've learned to trust my gut. I belong at the table. Even if you're someone just starting out and you have a strong opinion or you have an opinion, you belong at the table. You're at the table. Use your voice. And I didn't always do that earlier on, and I certainly do that now. And I think all of our opinions are valid when it comes to storytelling. And I hope those getting into the field feel that way and embrace that and have confidence in their own voice.
Where do you see communications in the social impact space fall short? How can we cut through all the noise? We talk about AI slop online. There's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. How do we cut through that and really inspire people, which I think you touched on earlier?
I think sometimes we do a really good job at inspiring and social impact, but then we lack clarity. So I feel really good about what I just watched, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that. So being really clear about the call to action, how am I supposed to walk away and take action based on what I just saw?
Yes.
What's the problem? What's the mechanism of action to change it? And where am I in that picture? So I think it is inspiring, but it's also being clear at the same time. Those two things together are really important.
And right now, science and research are constantly being challenged by people online, but also people in power. So does that worry you?
It absolutely worries me. I think, if you look at our country, we have this great history of being, an innovation engine, and we need to keep investing in that. We're at a point where we're pulling back from it, and it's just at this incredible moment when we're bringing together, as we say, and my CEO of Flagship coined this era of polyintelligence, which is the intersection of machine intelligence, human intelligence, and nature's intelligence. We don't often think of nature as being intelligent, but there's so much there to mine. It's really this new era, and to not be investing in science is really worrying. And I hope we keep going down the path that we have such a strong history of doing.
And when it comes to individual careers, and I hope we do inspire a lot of listeners today. You mentioned in a previous conversation that you often advise people to operate one level above your actual role. What does that mean? In practice, what does that look like?
When I was young and, I was really ambitious, I would look at what's the next level up, and what are those people doing? And maybe I can do some of that so I can show that I can move to the next level. So I would just advise trying to do that. And if that's not easy, offering to take on projects, initiatives, et cetera, with your boss, that might be a little bit above where you are in your current level. So I would always advise that of people. And then you can really you're showing people versus telling them that I'm ready to move forward to the next level. I've always given people that advice. And I don't think people advocate for themselves enough, and we should all be doing that more.
But how do you do it without stepping on toes or burning out?
I think asking if there's a project that I can work on, I'm really interested in this. I realize this isn't within my remit, but I'd love to be involved. Can I sit in the meeting and learn more? I think there are small steps and there are bigger steps, but just asking the question, I think is the right first step.
So we talked about science fiction, storytelling, but there's something about your after hours life, Laura, that we were kind of talking about when we first met, and that is that you sing in a choir.
I do.
Before we dive into that, which we will, I'm not going to ask you to sing, Laura.
Okay.
Just so you know, but
I'm more of a blender than a
soloist. More of a blender. You
Yeah.
harmonize.
Yes, I harmonize.
But is that completely separate? Do you think those two worlds are completely separate? Is there any kind of interaction between Laura, choir member, Laura, chief communications officer, Laura, the boss? I'm curious about that.
Well, I mean, if we think about storytelling, I think the arts are just ways of telling stories. So whether you're singing with a group, in this case, I sang with a group of about 150 people downtown in New York, which is great. That's my Tuesday night.
Oh my God.
But for many years. And just a wonderful group of people. But it is a form of storytelling, whether it's theater or visual art or, music, et cetera. So I think there's some connection there. And I bet I've met tons of communicators that are involved in the arts. And I bet and lots of people in social impact. And I bet you've seen that crossover as well as you've met with people over the years too.
Okay. We have to talk about how you got into this choir, which you say you've been a part of for many years. You perform?
We perform. We just performed last weekend. We perform at in downtown New York, and then sometimes we perform at Carnegie Hall. And next year we're performing in the spring at Carnegie. So yeah, it's just a wonderful group of people. Like I said, it's about 150 people, and we just sang the Mozart Requiem. We sing sort of big pieces of music, sometimes smaller pieces as well.
So you just dropped that little nugget for us, like, we just performed at Carnegie Hall. No big deal.
It is such a privilege, but we are performing at Carnegie Hall next year. This year we performed in New York downtown, but
that's coming up.
No, it's such a great privilege to be in that hall. It's incredible.
So we talked about your singing career. Now I want to just dive right into your after hours life, Laura. And I want to start asking you questions, which is part of our lightning round. Are you ready to play?
I am ready.
As a self-avowed theater kid, what's your favorite play or musical?
This is easy. I am a huge devotee of Stephen Sondheim, so my favorite musical is Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy.
Why? Is there a special connection that you have with that musical, or because of?
It's one of his best. They're all great, but it's just a really epic, incredible story. Beautiful lyrics, beautiful music. Just gorgeous overall. So,
okay.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with one historical figure, I don't know if the answer will be the same, but who would it be and why?
That's a great question. Give me the hard ones. Probably a civic leader like Martin Luther King. Someone that was doing the hard work, and that would be such an incredible honor. So yeah, someone like him.
What might be like one question you want to ask them? I
guess how did you sustain over time, over such difficulty, overcoming obstacles daily? How did you sustain that work, and what kept you motivated?
What's one city or country you've been to that you'd want to visit again if time and or money was not an issue?
I just went to Tokyo. I love Japan. We went to Tokyo and to Seoul, and both were incredible. I would love to go right back. And I just got back. But send me right back.
It's like, yeah, Tokyo is one of those countries where you're already probably thinking of your next trip. back to Tokyo, right? It's
Absolutely.
such a magical place. It's one of my favorite cities, and it's a big part of my childhood. So anyone who wants to yap about Tokyo, I'm in.
I'm in too.
So you just came from Korea. You came from Seoul, which I've never been to, and I am dying to go. Did you do anything fun while you were there?
We did so many fun things, but one of the cool things I did was I did one of those head spas. So it was like 2 hours of complete relaxation.
Yes.
It's sort of like an evaluation of your scalp and all of that, but then it's really just like an incredible massage for like 2 hours. So it was my self-care while I was there.
Going to a head spa is one of my favorite things. I don't get to do it often. I'm so glad that someone thought of that, because it's the most relaxing treatment you can get. That is literally, if I could do it every week, I would just go into a head spa and just have.
I agree.
Yep. And
we should have head spas at the office.
Oh my gosh.
That's my new thing.
So just, I guess, like full circle, we talked about school earlier, and, being at these conferences and being also fully present. I was at TED this year. I can also, just rave about how incredible that experience was, but they do think about everything, and that includes self-care while you're at the conference. So you can get a massage, you can get these treatments that I've never heard of, but I appreciated because it could get, draining at times, right? When you're also trying to maximize the opportunity and maximize your time there. But because that just reminded me, because you said having some sort of a spa at the office.
That's such a cool experience. I had no idea. That's really, really fun.
I know. I was so lucky to be there, and I was like, they have thought of everything. They have thought of people who also need to recharge during like a week-long event. So I'm with you on the head spa like treatment. That is like, again, it's like, can I just have that regularly, because it does help me. It does help me think. It does help me relax, and I'm glad that you had that during your time there. But Laura, this show is called Impact After Hours, and our favorite question on the show is, what is your go-to after hours media? What have you been watching, reading, or listening to lately?
Okay. I can start with watching.
Uh-huh.
I really like well, right now I like things that are a bit lighter. So I mean, None of this is surprising. These are all really popular shows, but Shrinking, for one, is just like, well, there's some non-lightness to that as well. But
yes.
I've gone back and I've been watching the show Younger, which I never watched before, which is so good. And
I love that
show. It's like my secret, fun, guilty pleasure. And then this one isn't light, but I love The Pitt. Just cannot get enough of it. Just binge The Pitt. So good. So good.
And then, are there any books that you're reading lately?
I actually have been reading, because I think I mentioned I just got a puppy. I've been reading a lot of training your dog books, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
So there's that's what's on my nightstand right now. But I have lots of other books I'm about to start once I figure out how to do this, which has been quite challenging.
Yes. And having our own 90-pound dog who was also once a puppy, I cannot imagine, also reading a book and then something, I don't know, for some reason something happens to, or the dog acts in a certain way. But I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I need all the luck.
Yes. What's your puppy's name? You said your puppy is like a little teddy bear.
His name is Oscar.
His name is Oscar. And
yes.
How old is Oscar?
Oscar's just about 3 months old. So very, very tiny. He's about 3.5 pounds. He's like a very, very tiny dog.
And so 3 months, oh my gosh. And when it comes to, music and audio. Do you play anything for Oscar? Do you sing to Oscar?
I definitely sing to Oscar, but actually I haven't done it enough with music. That's actually a great idea. Maybe he'll respond to music.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about that.
Well, Laura, so I thank you so much for sharing your career, the lessons that you gained over the last couple years. Is there anything that is happening at Flagship Pioneering that you might want to share with our audience?
No, at Flagship, I would say, we're always working to launch the next really incredible breakthrough company. So just watch that space. Always work going on there. So always something exciting coming out at Flagship.
All right. Well, Laura, thank you. It has been such a pleasure. Thank you for joining me on Impact After Hours.
Thank you, Camille.